Alrighty, folks, for real this time. It is time for the Metroid Prime 100% randomizer. He's my favorite uncle. He's your favorite uncle. It is Uncle Reggie. Take it away, my friend.
Yo, what is going on, Completithon? I'm Uncle Reggie, and I'm very happy to bring you this incentive Met run of Metroid Prime 100% randomizer. I am joined on commentary with Toaster Party.
Hello.
And we have a pretty good time coming up for you here. So this was originally going to be a 100% speedrun of the vanilla game, but we had the incentive met, so I'm still going to 100% the game, but all the items are in random positions, or random locations, following a chain of quote-unquote logic, which we can talk about. I was just double-checking my settings. We even have the fancy Completithon Hundo Rando Speedo there. Thank you, Toaster, for the title screen edit there. It's very good. So I'm gonna give us a countdown. It will be on go. So we'll do 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, good luck, Reggie.
Thank you. So we were talking briefly about logic. So I have enabled pretty much every trick except one on intermediate difficulty, which will give us some interesting logic without requiring me to think too hard about what I'm doing. You may notice that we still started on Frigate, which is kind of weird, but also fun. Typically in Rando, we do not start here at all. We ignore it, and we go straight to landing site. But it is Completithon, so you get to see... Oh, I don't work here. You get to see some exciting things that we normally leave out of Rando. Why is that active already? That's wild.
Yeah, random bug. Don't think too hard. But yeah, this is the tutorial section of the game. Usually we just cut it out because it's the same every time. But it's a pretty important part culturally for the speedrun, so we'll leave it in here.
Yep. We also, Randomizer also uses like a number of quality of life features, and I have some of them enabled, which enable me to route the game just a little bit cleaner without having to do like a weird janky out of bounds movement sequence or something risky. But one of the major things that I do not have on is the warp to start feature in Rando. So I should, in a randomizer, be able to just go to a save station. Oop, I walked off.
Oop.
And hit a button combination during the save station to warp back to my starting location, which honestly wouldn't really do me a whole lot of good, considering I would have to start in Frigate again.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even do
that. So I will be routing the game without that feature. All right, we won't dash.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else do we not have on? There's another thing.
Yeah, I mean, basically think about it like, normal 100% speed run, but you dastardly donators have shuffled all the items, so
yeah.
like 100%. Sorry.
No, vanilla item pool. Usually, randomizer in most standard settings used by communities and like races and tournaments, we start with charge beam. And only have 6 artifacts, but we have given you the true randomizer experience of vanilla item pool. I'm loading off of hard drive, so this shield is going to be in a bad position.
First boss of the game, that's a weak spot in the head. Usually the game wants to teach you to scan it, but instead we just skill shot it with free aim. It goes down pretty quickly.
Yep.
We have 1 missile left over for a turret coming up, so
you will see in the tracker on screen that I do have some items. Spoiler alert, something may or may not happen to the items that I have. Can you drop me a missile? Yes.
Yeah, we're at the escape sequence right now, so that for a Metroid game, that means we're almost done, right?
Yeah.
Oh wow, another world record here at Completithon?
And what's crazy is the timer's counting down, so like.
So if I were running this vanilla off of disc, the Parasite Queen fight would have looked a lot different than what it did. The barriers that surround her are timed from when the room finishes loading. Disc, turns out, is a pretty slow load, but I am running this off of a hard drive plugged into my Wii that enables me to play the game randomized, and it loads a metric ton faster than the disc does. It's a scientific measurement. It is an actual metric ton faster. So we didn't get to see super fast PQ kill, but you instead got to watch me waffle during the fight, which is way more entertaining anyway. You know.
At least you finished before the first cycle on the barriers reset.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen the barriers spin versus Parasite Queen on this game in a very long time. You will also, if you are well-versed in the Prime games, notice that I'm skipping a lot of cutscenes that normally aren't skippable, which is a really cool feature that was just dropped in to the randomizer program, Randomania.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. It's like I could have sworn that you couldn't skip those.
You are normally
in all my
correct.
playthroughs. Yeah.
You can think.
I would have been
Miguel
very
mentioned that,
upset
actually.
if there was an option, and I just overlooked it after all these years.
So you will notice on the tracker that I have lost a lot of things. Also, no more HUD memos here, so we don't get to see all the stuff that we lost, because we know what we lost. It's everything. Everything ever. It's all gone. We're never going to get it back.
Oh, man.
We're going to get it
What a
back.
hard game.
I know, right?
It's harsh. It's real serving up the harsh browns here.
One thing that's interesting about this run here is that we still have the same time estimate, as if all the games, as if we knew where all the items were going to be. But of course, they're not going to be where we expect them to be.
Nice.
So
solid.
There might be, I mean, depending on how they're arranged, it could be easy, it could be hard, take more or less time. But an advantage we do have where we don't have information is there's kind of RTA time saved from the quality of life features here and there. That should be interesting if those balance out any time lost from backtracking. And
we got super missiles behind the ship. So part of the joy of this is that our estimate is the same, so I have to find 100% of the items, which getting them is not the hard part. Coming up with the fastest route to do it is the challenge, considering that normally in a randomizer playthrough, we just try to beat the game with as little stuff as possible in competitive settings or like speed runs on these. So it's a very different thing to route, which honestly I think is pretty fun. It changes the way that you think about what you want to leave behind and what you're willing to do trick-wise to get items. Oh, I wonder what's in the tree.
some purple smoke.
It's
Yeah,
probably
only
just
one
5
thing.
missiles.
Yeah. Only one thing in the game has that purple smoke trail,
Okay.
and it's main power
Which missile
bomb.
are
So.
you? That's launcher. Okay, so that's a good cue. The game or the randomizer program will the very first missile that it places in logic to let you know that, hey, you should now be able to fire missiles is the missile launcher and not a missile expansion. I now know that my missile launcher is either locked. Oh no, it's 100% locked by space jump boots, which is probably going to be the first item that I get over here. Which is cool. We love space jump boots. Double jump. The big takeaway and difference between the 3D games and the 2D games is that space jump is a double jump instead of an infinite in the air, sometimes works, thank you Super Metroid, jump. The space jump boots give us the opportunity to have a lot of really nice movement options. And they make you go fast, and we love going fast.
It's even more than like twice the jump distance, because having the boots themselves actually increases the height of your first jump. So like it's definitely the most powerful movement upgrade of the game. Speaking of movement, we should probably explain a couple of the techniques that Reggie's employing here.
Oh yeah.
Here's bunny hopping, which is a fun one. Yeah, the kind of the primary mechanism driving a lot of how Reggie's moving is the fact that the game, like a lot of games, does have a speed cap to prevent players from getting some kind of weird, glitchy or abusive systems. But for whatever reason, they've forgotten to apply the speed cap laterally left and right. So anything that might propel Reggie forward, the game will eventually slow Reggie down to reach a maximum speed cap. I think maybe like 16 feet per second or something. But left and right, there's no cap. So a way to gain speed quickly in this game is dashing. And usually dashing speeds you up really fast and slows you down. But if you break the lock-on by just letting go of L in the middle of the dash, you get to retain the high speed. You can keep building speed, and the game won't slow you down because you're going sideways, not forwards and backwards. So the ideal path through most rooms is to like find some lock-on and sort of dash and move sideways through the room. So it requires a lot of knowledge of the rooms, how they're laid out, how all the geometry bumps and notches and stuff are in the room so that you can navigate it without really looking where you're going.
Okay.
Eat your heart out, Quake fans. Samus is the true queen of bunny hopping.
Indeed. So I decided to go back with missile launcher. There are a few checks that it opens up, and the most clustered checks that I had two things that I could get back there that were pretty big logical tells. Unfortunately, neither of them got me morph ball, which is what I really wanted to find. But that power bomb expansion is really cool. I'm gonna get the items here in Plaza. Luckily, we don't require the main item to use the expansions in Prime. We do in Echoes. There is an option to turn that on. But so I can kind of quote unquote cheat a little bit and say, okay, cool. I know I'm not supposed to look for my progression behind power bombs right now. All right, that's just a tank. I'm gonna leave that until I can come back. But I can use that item to get stuff locked behind main power bombs early. Which I know for a fact are in that tree because of that big purple cloud. Part of the joy of the vanilla item pool is that instead of the 6 artifacts, we have all 12, and we have shuffled charge beam, which means I know where my super missiles are. They're right behind the ship, but I still need to find charge beam in order to use them.
They usually charge on its own. There's only really one check in the game there's 2 checks in the game that are only locked behind charge at minimum. And that's the one in Cargo Freight Lift, in the Crash Frigate, and one in Magmore that a lot of people use supers on, but you really only need charge. So because charge is such a convenience thing, usually start with it, but it's less interesting logically and more interesting just from like how you avoid or approach combat situations, and like how you route for time. So
one really cool thing about the preset that we're using for this is something that you would never get to see in a normal speed run of Prime, which are heat runs. So we have it turned on so that only the Varia suit protects us from heat damage. In the vanilla game, Gravity suit would also do that if you managed to get to Gravity without Varia, which is really, really difficult. It requires some really tight movement.
Yeah, it takes so much time to collect all of the energy tanks you need to be able to take all the heat damage. And in pretty much all categories, you need to go to Sun Chamber pretty early anyways to get the artifact that's there. So kind of Randomizer is one of the only areas where you need to that you can be expected to go through Magma or that area.
Would you like to talk about what just happened with Arbor Chamber for me, Toaster?
Yeah, so that's an example of out of bounds movement. It would have been better to explain it as it happened, but pretty much everything in this game, if it looks like you can stand on it, you can. We've used that to get out of bounds. And it's not quite just like get out of bounds wherever you want. You have to, like, you can only go like 1 or 2 rooms at a time, and you have to like make the map move with you if you want to go more than 1 room out of bounds. But a lot of times you can break basically the game's loading state, where you can sometimes be in a room where the graphics aren't loaded, and there's a whole world to out of bounds movement, and we may or may not see more later depending on how Reggie routes and what items he finds. That's probably the easiest one to learn if you're interested. If you've been playing this game a lot and you're interested in out of bounds movement, that one's easy because you don't have to deal with advanced concepts like aether jumping, door transitions, that sort of thing. You just kind of go out through one ceiling and through another, which is quite fun. For whatever reason, Retro made that door blue on one side, so you don't need plasma to go back on the reverse side.
Speaking of items that we find, Wave Beam is a really good one. There are a lot of doors that will block your progression early on, that are Wave Beam doors. You can only go like into the first 8 rooms in Phendrana Drifts, the Snow Zone. There's an entire half of Magmore Caverns that's locked out. And there's a really, really cool couple of rooms on our way that can either be Tower of Progression, also known as Tower of Light, or Tower of Lies, and we will see which it ends up being today.
Yeah, these couple rooms, depending on where you find Wave Beam, they can be easy to leave behind. Especially because you'll kind of often find bombs, clear out all these rooms, and then not want to come back because you're progressing deeper into the game. But it's nice to get the early Chozo wave checks done first. Well, at least these ones. There's more in the training chamber. But.
All right, let's get some praise in chat to make sure this isn't the Tower of Lies coming up.
So this room is one of my favorites in the game as far as movement goes. It's normally requires either 36 missiles or 40 total for supers to break the blocks. But with some movement tricks and some dashing, we can basically skip the requirement for missiles at all, outside of what's needed to break the door lock to get back here in the first place. And the movement there feels really good. And speaking of things that feel really good, Charge Beam early.
Nice.
Love that.
So they're very clearly intended to have Gravity Suit for that. There's yet another broken movement mechanic in this game, and it's jumping around slope surfaces. So anywhere in this game with a slope, especially underwater, you can kind of force some extra height out of the character's jump by pushing into slopes. And there's a whole world of nuance around how that works and how to best get every pixel of height out of a jump. But that one's pretty easy. You just kind of push forward and back, and the stamina kind of flies up. So.
All right, that Charge Beam is really good because that gave us the ability to use our super missiles. And we really want that item, main power bombs. So now I can use my power bombs logically and know that I can potentially find progression behind them. I'm a little suspicious of training chamber area.
A little sus.
A little sus, but I don't have bombs yet. So I'm wary of doing too much out of bounds too early. I believe that Magma Pool is in logic right now with the dashes required for it, but I'm going to see if I can't find bombs first so that I can just do a series of rooms out of bounds and get an item early without having Spider Ball or Boost Ball. Save me some time. Oh, sweet. Spider Ball.
Speaking of Spooter. So there, in a lot of places where you need to use bombs to get an item, power bombs actually work fine. So it's usually not advisable because power bombs are a pretty hot commodity in this game. They're hard to refill when you use them. But of course, the randomizer on these settings, not the default ones, can expect you to use a couple power bombs to do bomb checks.
Whoa, why are we doing that? Oh, you know what I should probably do? Go get hints. I forgot hints. I was in Talon and forgot hints. And an item.
Yeah. I was caught off guard about the whole explaining the intricacies of out of bounds after it had happened. I was just like, yeah, and then Arbor Chamber. I mean, you know, just breaking the game.
I also got really excited about getting Wave Beam and was like, ooh, I want Tower of Light. Ooh.
Gravity.
Okay.
So the dash in Magma Pool might not be logical. So that might be an advanced dash. But with Gravity Suit, it makes it easier to jump out of the lava onto the other side. So with enough E-tanks, it could conceive like the randomizer could conceivably be hinting that it wants you to do that.
Yeah.
But of course, as the player, you're free to think whatever you want. And a lot of times it is just guessing and checking. So
I think because this is a marathon, we check for vanilla bombs.
That would be funny.
A lot of this game has what's called a point of no return, which we may call at some point a PONR during the run, where most of the item locations in the game where you get a major upgrade require you to use that major upgrade to get out of where you got it. So I don't have any of the things that would let me skip the vanilla bombs requirement to get out of where you get them. So we're going to take a gamble here, and we are just going to see. Oh, I'm going to take damage. And we'll see.
The Gravity Suit here gives us, what, 40%?
We're at 20% damage reduction.
20%.
Because we have vanilla suit damage reduction.
I always forget.
So normally it's 10% from Varia suit, 20% once you get gravity, and then 50% damage reduction when you get Phazon suit, the final suit of the game. And I like to use the vanilla suit values because I feel like it gives more value to finding a suit early instead of just, oh, it lets you go through hot rooms, or oh, you can move in water. And it's particularly for Phazon suit because that 50% damage reduction basically has the same effect of doubling your energy tank count.
So what are the other
huge?
What are the other options for damage reduction in the randomizer? Is it just like
there's
all
one
the same, or
it's progressive suit damage reduction. So the first suit that you find gives you 10, the second gives you 20, and the third suit gives you 50%. Which does have a place and a time. It's just not in any of my presets because I don't like that option. I like to give value, especially to Phazon suit, because otherwise it's kind of just the 13th artifact in the run. Okay, so we have to reset because we cannot get out. But we know that bombs are not there. So that was a planned reset.
But we have to go back.
We do have to go back.
Because
but we
that's
know progression
Completithon.
is not there.
That's interesting. I didn't think of it that way because usually, right, you've done this, you've checked it, it's nothing. Usually in a normal race or whatever, right, that's it, you're done. You don't have to come back. It's an interesting.
Well, while we're getting back there, do you have time for a donation?
We have plenty of time. Take it away for us.
All
Ron.
right. We got $50 from Baja Blood. Hashtag PHMR. Awesome to see a Hundo Rando run with an amazing render/com duo. Best of luck with the run, and remember that green is a better color than orange.
Absolutely. Thank you, Baja.
And that went towards the Hollow Knight Path of Pain incentive.
Oh yeah.
And
I've been watching that.
yeah, then that is a good chunk of change towards that incentive. We are, let me just take a look here. We are just a little under $100 there, just a little under halfway to the Path of Pain for Hollow Knight. We got less than a day to do it, plenty of time, but less than you think. So let's make that happen.
Awesome. I love Hollow Knight, and when I discovered Path of Pain in my first playthrough, I am not lying when I say that that was the most fun that I had in that game, because I love tough platforming. And boy, is there plenty of that in Path of Pain.
I had a very similar experience. I was about to be like done with the play session. I was like, oh, what's this? And play for another like 3 hours. Like the best feeling in the game.
All right, this
It's
room
kind of
is a good one. Ruined Fountain normally requires you to have beaten Flagra, which requires bombs, which I am still lacking, but with some standable trickery, we can just go ahead and get that item when we want to instead.
just stand on everything.
Yeah. I'm gonna go get hints, because that's an intelligent thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, really, at this point, right, since you know you're gonna need to collect everything, right? Hints might as well be like missiles. The power of getting hints here and knowing where your artifact locations are is that you know it's not progression. Right? So if we get to a point where Reggie needs like only Ice Beam is the thing that can move Reggie forward, knowing where Ice Beam can't be, and there's 12 locations where it can't be because it's hints. Oh, we found one, so 11. That could inform a decision that could save you time.
So you might say that Reggie needs to take a hint.
Take a hint, indeed. So what's really cool is that unless I happen to have left my Varia suit here in Artifact Temple, pretty soon we're going to get to see some more heat running. Oh, come on. Let me up. I do not like this slope. It is a pain. We do not get along. We are not friends. There we go.
Yeah, so just like a little bump on the ground on the left. Just kind of like walking up a tiny step and jumping is enough to get you up here. So it's like kind of a isolated example of a slope down.
I'm a little suspicious of Lava Lake right now. Lava Lake came into Logic with these settings with no suit and 4 energy tanks, because I'm playing with strict damage logic, which means normally the randomizer gives you a little bit of extra buffer energy for what its requirements are for taking damage, and that's 1.5 times. But I have reduced that to the straight up database requirements, so 1 times the energy requirements, to try and make those damage runs a little bit more likely, since the game has to drop less energy tanks to make them possible. All right, so we're gonna check where our artifacts are. So Vent Shaft, Phazon Mines, that's the latest location in the game that is not the boss area. Storage Depot A is a great one. It's Vanilla Flamethrower location. Fungal B, okay. 3 mines artifacts already. Hydro Access Tunnel, ooh. It's a shame we have gravity already because we don't get to show off a cool thing there. Oh, wow. Gamma Vader, okay.
So that leaves only 1 check left in Crash Frigate.
Yep, Overgrown Cavern. Okay. Ice Locked, Life Grove Tunnel. Good item location. Plasma processing. Awesome.
No vanilla plasma. Love to
No
see it.
vanilla plasma today. Storage cavern. Okay. And quarantine monitor.
Not the boss.
Not the boss. The
Next to
room
the
right
boss.
next door. And then training chamber, which we did just see. I think that's the last one. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, I think, how do I want to do this? I think I want to do early Magmore from Talon side. I'm going to check a couple of those locations. Probably just up to Warrior Shrine. And then get out of there. And then go check Lava Lake. So I have access to 3 items in Magmore in full logic right now. So that, or on that side of Magmore. And then I have access to Lava Lake. Love reverse slope jumping, which is where you are moving down a slope and the game throws you forward more instead of up more, which lowers your jump height, which feels bad when it happens. I am curious, are we going to find our 8th power bomb expansion before we find our bombs, which would be really funny.
It's like crazy early to have all of those, so there's no reason for the randomizer to give you more than 4, really. But this is just luck. Power bombs are usually something that runners are complaining about endlessly, so it's nice to have as many as we need. So without any suits, this is barely possible. And with gravity suit, we're a little bit comfy here. Although it kind of depends how deep you want to go.
Ooh,
there's Ice Beam.
Ice Beam. We want that. All right, so this is a logical pull right here. That's good.
It unlocks a lot.
Oh, come on. All right, well, I guess we're not going to do that. That's kind of bad. We lost some time there on this limited ammunition health run through. That's X-ray visor. Okay, I think I'm going to take these 2 and get out.
Are your losses?
Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can pull some energy out of here.
They like to drop 20s. Unfortunately, not today.
Oh, that's not good. All right, well, we're probably dead. Because the moment I go into here, we're toast.
You actually have to touch.
Unless
this guy drops a 20. Oh.
Yeah, we're dead.
Nope.
Floundering on. I was trying to do some special movement on to do the equivalent of like an extended dash where I was in the air and I was going to combat dash down and get some momentum off of the Triclops, but the game's lock-on system did not wish to cooperate with me. We're going to go back and we're going to get Ice Beam and then probably turn around because Ice Beam's pretty huge. That's a lot of doors that get opened up for me. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to do Lava Lake.
Yeah, X-Ray unlocks 2 checks in the game, and they're at the very end, the Mega Pirate and the room behind a Mega Pirate. So until we have Plasma Beam and Mind's Axis and a bunch of other things, that's not going to be pertinent. So.
Let's see. What do we do with Ice Beam?
Stay cool.
Yeah, stay cool. That would help.
Ice Beam unlocks Frigate.
It does unlock Frigate.
2 of the 3 Frigate items are already fixed.
Come on, I missed that.
It unlocks Chozo from the back.
True.
In vanilla, you're not expected to climb a Frigate crash site to the elevator.
I said I was going to turn around. Here I am trying to go all the way again.
I was thinking about what you're going to do with Ice Beam and proceed further into the depths of Magmor.
Yo, good movement there, though. I'm going to take extra damage on the lava because I can afford to. That dashing was pretty
swag.
good. Okay.
You have Backfen.
I do have back fen.
Span
think
just died in
we're
lava,
gonna-
then dashed through it. Just
This is a little
Old
dangy,
bravery.
but we're going to go for it.
We have the nearby save. This is called an R jump. So in places where you can't get a dash, you can still build speed against that, like the sideways speed cap that doesn't exist by just jumping and turning real good. This game's weird.
This game is
The
weird.
button that's used, the button that's used to look is the most broken thing, because it affects how the character moves when they're in the air in a weird way, but in a good way. We call it limited influence. You kind of are set on a trajectory, and you can only build or like reduce your speed slightly, but it's really powerful. So normally Samus can like turn around corners on a dime and stuff. But pressing R gives you speed at the cost of that control, which is a really interesting mechanic for something that's completely unintended. That's one of the reasons I love this game.
Where's the third
He's
one?
flying part in.
It's hiding.
It was like on stealth radar, like wasn't showing up.
Okay. I feel better about that. That's Ice Spreader, which doesn't really do much for me until the very end of the game. But we're here. We might as well grab it now. Scary lava. That's totally safe, but feels scary every time.
Every time.
I'm scared right now.
Watching it cool makes me feel like I'm going to fall into it, even though the collision becomes solid the moment you scan the panel. Or you start the puzzle. No, don't touch me.
I forget
Don't
how
wanna
much
take any
damage
love
they
taps.
do, but yeah.
With gravity, I think it's like 4 or 5 damage. But every little bit counts because I'm probably going to be a little haphazard in the flame jet room.
Yeah. Shout out to the time that Digglerath had 1 health in a tournament
my
race going through this
lord.
room and had to stop at each and every single flamethrower.
That was pretty nice. Nice. We're going to take this save station. I would like to shout out the randomizer and community for Metroid Prime because I see a lot of names in here and a lot of support. And that's really cool. So thank you. People showing up. We love it.
You'll love to see it, folks.
You love to see it.
Love to see it.
Which way? Up or down?
There's an artifact here. I have 7 power bombs and super missiles. I'm probably just gonna fight Dwayne the Rock Johnson in the Thunderdome
I'm here for it.
here on Talon 4.
I'm here
So
for
this
it because
item. Oh, you
Bombs
here
on
for it?
Thardis is always funny. Yeah, that's what I want.
Normally getting to this item location requires grapple beam, but we can do some funny dashing. Haha, Samus go sideways burr.
It's a good visualization of like the limit of scan dashing. That's about the widest, like pure horizontal gap that you can cross with just a dash. So you can anywhere that there's a scan point or an enemy that you can lock onto.
Oh, I don't have bombs.
The furthest you can go. So yeah, usually you want to explain?
Sure. Normally for this fight, you would have the thermal visor item, which allows you to see the weak spots on Thardis. Fortunately, they are always in the same order, so you can know which rock needs to be damaged. without having the thermal visor. There is a trick that you can do during this fight. You can lay a morph ball bomb while Thardus is rolling around, which will instantly skip the thermal phase for that rock and take it straight to exposed ice, which is pretty convenient. However, there will be none of that today.
With this fog, how are you going to see?
I know, it's crazy. Thardus is feeling a little bit gassy and a little bit embarrassed, so the arena is going to cloud up here. We're not going to publicly shame Thardus for it. It happens to us all. But we
can all smell what this rock is cooking, and it ain't good.
I was early. There is a fun technique that you can do when you shoot a super missile called a visor cancel, where you switch to scan visor and then back to combat visor instantly, which skips that visor's or the cooldown that is normally required in order to shoot another super missile. So we can fire them off a little bit more rapidly. It looks, I have 9 missiles. So I'm gonna save my last super missile shot. Oh, nice. All right, cool. That's really handy. Oh, I don't know why I was saving my super missile shot. I don't have bombs, but I have power bombs.
I was gonna let you cook on that, but
whatever. Having more missiles for the rest of Phendrana is still very good. All right, we're gonna wait. Thardus just dropped lightning in the room, and a well-placed power bomb will get rid of that boss's remaining hit points, which is good. We love watching them go down.
Power bomb does damage every frame, so bosses that aren't designed to account for that, which is most of the ones that you fight before you get power bombs.
Yeah, Samus was blacking out there a little bit.
Yeah.
Things are scary.
Got a little dizzy.
I have to go the vanilla way around the room if I want to go back. Because I don't have bombs. So we're in for a long rotation around this spider ball track here. Bonnie, if you have anything about the marathon or some donos to read, please take it away.
Sure. Well, we got a $11 from Nasu, who says, make it half. And I think that is supposed to go towards the Path of Pain incentive, which would indeed put it halfway there. However, there is a catch. It does not look like the incentive was actually checkmarked on that. So it's not showing up yet, but I've talked to the admins, and we're making a note to make sure that does get counted towards it, if that is indeed the case. But yeah, that would make sense. That is supposed to go towards that. But just a reminder, everyone, to be sure to check your incentives when you're making a donation. Make sure it's going towards what you want.
Yeah. So this is kind of a dangerous logical play right here. Pretty much all of the items back here, except one, are available to me logically. The one that concerns me is Storage Cave. It is a room, I love this Metroid, that requires Plasma Beam to get into, and there's no easy way to do anything about that.
Good qualification. There's a way to do a lot of things in this game that you don't want to do.
Where there's a will, there's a way, and my will is not there. I'm not doing any of the shenanigans required to get it. So I'm going to be isolating a check, which is typically bad in hundo-based routing, but I'm really hungry for that Plasma Beam or my next progression, so I'm willing to take that risk of leaving something behind.
At the very least, on the second pass through here, you won't have to go through the lower route on the way back, which is slower.
Yep. So this room normally requires a lot of grapple beam, swing-a-roozy, which we're not going to do. We're just going to find it right here. Good timing. While I have the power bombs to spare, I am going to break this wall.
Does it stay broken? Today, yes. Years old, I learned
that it do. Let's see. So we've got gravity chamber has 2 checks. We're going to grab both of those. See if we can get a 5% power bomb. Sad. Okay. So this, whoop, we did not go away from the wall at all. This item normally,
plasma,
yeah, plasma beam and grapple beam, which we did just find, but a well-placed R jump is enough to get us away to the item.
So that's mixing a slope jump and an R jump. Pretty much, there's like a lot of, there's probably like 5 to like 7 base like movement techniques in this game, and you can mix and match them. And pretty much like every area of the game.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Like as you learn and practice these techniques, you start to like add them together, and it's pretty cool how it comes together.
A little bit of double duty Judy on there. Let's see. All right, so we're gonna go through the Space Pirate Labs backwards. Normally, no matter, or unless whatever's in the vanilla thermal visor location in a room called Research Core, normally we would avoid getting that item because it triggers a layer change, which is like, every room has a set like state, I guess, that the room is in. And taking certain actions in certain rooms can change the state of other rooms. This is a pretty major layer change for the rest of Pirate Labs that changes a lot of things about the way that the rooms are.
It cuts power.
Yeah. I'm waffling. All right, there we go.
I don't know why a pair of like Spy Kids goggles is powering the whole station, but you know, you take that out and it's gone.
I got shot in midair, which shoved me farther to the side. I don't know what this pirate's name is, but I'm going to call him Alfred. And Alfred is not on my good side today.
For shame, Alfred.
Shame on Alfred. A lot of things that hurt you in this game have like velocity knockback on them, which can be rather annoying, especially if you are in the air. The last thing that you want is to be launched anywhere other than where you want to go. So we've stolen the power to get our missiles, and totally not thermal visor. So we have to run around. That little spot on the wall that I shot right there is a thermal conduit, which you can see with the thermal visor to know that you need to shoot it with wave beam in order to restore power to whatever thing is not functioning. We don't have thermal visor, but luckily, because we know where they are, we can just use them. What's here? Just a lot of missiles. Oh, I actually made that jump. I did not expect to. Alright. We're gonna skip a morph ball track puzzle and just land on it because it's way faster. It's safer. The camera angles on that morph track are pretty awful.
It's a hard puzzle for the wrong reasons.
Come on. Like, the movement is not bad. It's just the way that the camera moves around.
Yeah. Probably, in my opinion, the best fixes that Retro made to the game engine in Metroid Prime 2 is the camera work in Morph Ball.
Far better. So this is a fun thing that is in Logic right now. I could find a progression item here. So we're gonna just go for it.
So skip on plasma by shooting over the barrier.
Yep. Go ahead and do a single room oob, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So in the randomizer trick settings, Reggie said that he's comfortable with intermediate out of bounds logic. So it can require him, or usually you have to use a single bomb, or alternatively a boost against a wall. to climb out of this. He can actually use a pile of snow to slope jump up and over a wall. So it gets him out of bounds, right? So in a lot of games here, you'd just be falling infinitely. There's not actually a floor here that he's landed on. He's just left the basically like holding bounds of the room. And the behavior for that is when you're not in a room's bounding box, you're just locked in whatever state you're in. So what he can do is he can still move laterally, but he doesn't falling down. Thankfully, when you're on the floor of the bounding box, every couple frames you can input a jump. And what he does is he gets in from the floor of the bounding box to the wall of the bounding box, and as he walks in and out of the wall of the bounding box, there's a small period of time where the game thinks that he's walking off of a ledge, and like in a lot of other games, that's treated as what's called coyote time, which is just something that people, like developers, add to games to make it feel better to play, to give players the ability to jump shortly after they've walked off a ledge, because it doesn't feel good to walk off a ledge and like miss a jump and fall. So he's using that mechanic, walking into the bounds of the room, jumping, and then landing back on the wall and repeating that to get height. So, and when he reaches the ceiling, he could just walk over and morph. Morph isn't constrained to the same kind of like bounding box limitations for whatever reason. So when he's above the room's bounding box, he could just morph to drop back into it, and thus skipping bombs in a very interesting way that never happens in a normal run. So non-randomized, I mean.
Yeah. That Phazon suit is a really happy find for me. I
was just going to say, hey, low-key just got the best suit in the game.
Yeah.
Yup.
In most cases, seeing Phazon suit's like, oh cool, I have the boss key to open the boss door at the end of the game, but it's damage reduction.
Mm-hmm.
Usually you're okay on health, like in combat in this game. Combat's not really a big issue. If you have a lot of people have a number of E-tanks, and once they reach that, they're comfortable for the rest of the game.
Pirate dance
I won't
party.
say it, yeah, nice. Yeah, there's 2 layers here, each with a set of pirates for a fight, and they're both happening at the same time. So there's like 13 pirates instead of 6.
They all want to dance.
That they do.
There's a lot of funny stuff that happens when you go through areas backwards, like pirates standing at attention facing the wrong way. I don't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, without Varia, it's kind of the only time where you care about health above your comfy E-tank count. And Registrable Pass says comfy E-tank count.
Oh yeah, which is 3. I only
I
care
didn't
about
want to
having
say,
3.
Yeah, I didn't want to say what your comfy E-tank count was for you, buddy.
What is this? This is just missiles. Oh, that's right. Mommy's alive. This is my favorite door in the whole game. For whatever reason, that door, when you break the missile shield, is vulnerable to missiles, where if I were to shoot this door with a missile, it would just bounce off. But, oh nice, it bounced off the bomb boot.
The movement in this room is fun.
Those are my bombs. Okay.
Nice.
I'm doing baby strat because I was trying to figure out what the item was.
Yeah. We could do fun dash out.
Yeah. Very cool.
What's interesting is, right, dashing gives you a bunch of speed sideways, but there's a couple things you can do in the air to control where you go. Right, you don't have full control of Samus, so you can't just, it's not as simple as pointing the analog stick in the direction you want to go. There's a couple techniques. One there to get back to the door, to avoid falling in the middle of the room and falling down the canyon. He turned, and it kind of like curves. Basically, the game wants to like always move you perpendicular because of the way the speed limit works. So he can like curve dashes, and then there's also something called bending dashes, which is where you apply a perpendicular force. And then there's things like, adding limited influence or morphine or bunny hopping, like all sorts of crazy things that you can do to modify dashes to make them go exactly where you want to go. And a lot of learning this game is Right, learning what makes each dash unique, what input you have to do. Ooh.
Very good. So I'm gonna go back over here.
Yeah. Phendrana, like, by far has the most plasma checks of the game, so finding plasma in Phendrana is nice.
It's pretty convenient.
Yeah. It means, like, we only have to go to the vanilla wave location once instead of having to come back. A couple things like that. For whatever reason, the ice in the other room shatters and breaks instantly, where that one slowly melts. It's like different ice.
Oh, there's an item here I should probably grab, huh? This is Completithon, not Complete-ish-thon.
That's right.
We will be checking the percentage at the end.
We sure will.
There are gonna be some words. You know, after the stream ends, I'm gonna make you go back through and do it again.
I gotta do my makeup
If
work.
you missed one, yeah.
All right. Ooh, we slid all the way off that ice.
Yeah, so like off the top of the head, there's things in early Chozo at the beginning that are isolated that probably don't have anything important, but we have to go back there in early Chozo to clean that up. And then, of course, you haven't touched any of mines, and a lot of talent is still missing. In terms of progression items, right, items that mean things, we're really only missing 3. Right, X-Ray, I explained before, locks the Omega Pirate Fight item and the item behind that. We know where that is, we just have to go get it. We have enough E-Tanks that we could skip Varia, which is one of the other 3 that we need. Varia honestly doesn't do that much for us with Phazon suit and this many E-Tanks. So we could say, oh, speaking of which, here's Varia. This fight's interesting. The way Reggie walks to this room and walks to this fight, that was unlucky.
While it was dying.
I've never seen that before.
The movement in this is different with skipped cutscenes.
Is that?
Normally the one on the left when you're facing the wave door activates first, but the right one activates first. We're gonna commit matricide right there.
Yeah. Would that mean it's your mom?
I don't think it has to be your own mother for it to be matricide.
We'll let the experts ponder that philosophical question.
Yeah, the etymology experts in chat, you can argue about whether or not it applies.
Yeah, sure. It does.
Let's see.
As the expert here, yeah, it does. So totally.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. I
Thank you
got
for the
your
expert
degree and
opinion.
everything.
And the third item that we're missing is Boost Ball, which
is important.
Yeah, it's important. It makes you go fast. Basically, every room you go through where you don't have Boost Ball, you're usually losing time. Basically, any room it would be fast to Morphin and Boost, you lose time. Yeah, none of the checks in the game really require Boost, but it's annoying and loses time in a lot of places. And there's one room in particular, which I think we have an artifact in, Life Grove Tunnel.
Yep.
You can soft lock in and have to reset if you miss the trick to skip Boost.
So Varia suit, it makes Magmor nice and cushy, which we love a cushy Magmor that can be taken out of context in some ways. And I pull off my favorite dash.
My favorite dash?
Yeah, I love monitor station dash the way I do it. There are like 4 different ways to move through monitor station. The way I just did it, I watched a TAS dash and then adapted it for my skill level like 3 years ago when I was learning any percent, because I didn't like the way that super fast people did it. And I just never learned the slightly faster way that saves like 0.4 seconds over the way I do it. Because 0.4 seconds don't really matter to me. I'm not at the point where that's going to make or break a personal best.
Especially because PBs are measured in minutes. So there's no second timer in this game.
Yeah.
Or there is.
Eventually it will matter.
You, but
we are far from that day. I would like to find Boost Ball. Oh, I got grabbed by some camera shenanery and latent Triclops gravity. Let's see. I kind of want my Boost Ball just because of the speed that it offers. I like to zoom around. It feels good. It is fast.
And tell us what you're thinking about routing, right? You have like a bulk of mid Chozo. You still have isolated plasma checks and Farfen. All far Chozo, and we haven't even touched mines.
Yeah. I'm thinking that I go clean up. I'm thinking since I'm right here, I'm gonna clean up Chozo. I can do all of the checks in Chozo right now. And then I'll do Frigate backwards. And then probably mines.
Mines. So then that's mines front to back.
Yep.
And then you would be near plasma processing.
Yep.
And then you can go get the 2 plasma lock checks and back.
Yep. That also gives me an opportunity to take Frigate Crash Site once I come up from Root Cave to get Life Grove. Which I'm not going to bother going to without boost because I need Boost Ball to get Life Grove Tunnel. I'm not doing Life Grove Tunnel half-pipe bomb jump because it's a stinky trick that smells really bad and nobody likes it. And we should all call it funny names and take its lunch money. I'm sorry if that unlocks core memories for anybody.
I'm sorry if you've ever cried to half-pipe bomb jumps. I'm sure a non-zero amount of people have cried to half-pipe bomb jumps.
I've never thought of it as a stinky strat, but it is accurate.
It does. It is very stinky. It smells bad.
So we're gonna start Chozo cleanup with Sleepy Flagra.
Yeah.
This is
in the standard game. If you come up this, screw you, wasps. If you come up this way, I'm gonna kill some of these wasps. I'm missing a power bomb. These might not have a drop chance.
I mean, it still works. You just have to. Well, it's also cutscene skips, so the cool strat matters less.
Ooh.
Wink. So there's an invisible trigger in this room. And in the vanilla game, it's always here. And Randomizer, it's hidden by default. So right there, Reggie passes through where there would be a trigger. And no matter what has happened to Flagra previously, when that trigger's touched, it will delete Flagra and replace it with a ghost fight. In vanilla, that means if you touch that trigger, the item locked behind Flagra, which is very astute, is gone forever. As a consequence, not hitting that trigger means Flagra is still here, but this room expects you to come into it from the front. So there's a trigger that surrounds the front door, where basically as soon as you step into the room, you enter it, and it starts the fight, it moves you, it activates Flagra. But here, the bomb slots, which, by the way, are the only bomb slots in the game where you don't have to be in them to destroy them. Usually bomb slots check for the player to be in them to check for them being destroyed. You can damage Flagra, and since the scripting is robust, it spawns, realizes that all 4 bomb slots are gone and that it should be dead, so then it dies and plays the end cutscene. And then we skip that and we get the item and we go. Yeah, usually Flogger, you have to do a bunch of dashes to get to the bomb slots to still cheese it pretty quickly. But this is even faster when you don't even have to worry about Flogger swiping you or sitting for dashes.
Swipe or no swiping?
Yeah. So now that Flogger is dead, the randomizer only feature activates, which turns on the trigger in that room. So Reggie went back, hit it, and now can fight the ghost to get the second item in the room. For whatever reason, shooting a ghost ball makes it drop down faster. So you can see the left one hit the floor first. Ghosts in this game have a bunch of health, 200 health, I think. So that's, without charge, that's 200 power beam shots, which is crazy. But so it works out nicely that it's one fully charged shot and a super missile to kill them. So Reggie was trying to start out by hitting each of the three with one charge shot, so that he knows all the ghosts are just a super missile away from being over.
Curious in chat, want to sound off on how many of you were just had those ghosts just scare the crap out of you as a kid? Those ghosts that Reggie just decimated there.
Right.
I know I'm among them. I did not like those ghosts when I was younger.
They annoyed me. I was never frightened of them. I was 8 years old when I played this game for the first time. No, 10. I was 10. And they weren't scary. I did not enjoy them.
I was scared.
I was very scared.
It's just like, oh god, these things again. Ew. I don't wanna.
Gross. Yeah. Ew, gross. I'm gonna get their ectoplasm on me.
It is kind of nice though. They are one of the few enemies in the game that do not have knockback, which is really handy for rooms with movement. That can be a little painful, like Ruined Shrine. If you need to go back towards like Tower of Light area and you're trying to do some movement and a ghost shoots you, it'll prevent you from shooting the door because they cause you to lower your arm cannon, but they will not push you around, which is a good thing.
I would take knockback over the stun. Honestly.
Just don't get hit, Seven Head.
In a lot of places in this game, boost ball can actually substitute for bombs. Basically, anywhere that you need to move with Morphle bombs, you can usually substitute it with boost, and anywhere you need to destroy stuff with bombs, you can usually substitute it with power bombs. But in this case, we're just using bombs as intended and hoping to find boost for the movement aspect of it.
I want power bombs here. So these enemies, scarabs, deal a lot of damage if you just walk through them. But for whatever reason, they are single-handedly the most likely place for an enemy to drop a power bomb in the game, and I miraculously only got one out of an entire squad of them, which is just awful luck. It's really bad luck.
Every single enemy, every single instance of every single enemy in this room can have a different loot table for its chances to drop whatever items. So instead of this game, having some kind of algorithm that says, look, the player has 2 out of 7 power bombs, so let's give it a X plus Y over B percentage chance, whatever, of dropping a power bomb. It's just this beetle in this room. Yeah. It's a colorblind friendly flamethrower model. Yeah.
Oh, usually flamethrower and super missiles are very suspiciously the same color. Like it's a very light shade of orange. So I recolored the model to be a more vivid red instead of yellowish orange, and I didn't realize that. I haven't had a chance to look at it at all. I didn't realize it was in.
It's because it's a dev build. It's not in.
Ooh. Spicy.
Yep. But yeah, there's been some races lost in tournaments and stuff because people have like mild color blindness and mix up the two, so making them more distinct was a good idea.
Large jump.
All right, more Welcon in my video game, my Metroid Prime.
Hands. Please do the thing that I want you to do.
Our jumping around obstacles is weird. But so this room has a lot of things you can stand on. It has a really big ceiling, so naturally there's a way out of it. Any room with with the combination of those two things, you can get out of. So Reggie was standing by the morph ball tunnel, a piston tunnel, which usually you can only leave because there's a bird head blocking you from getting out of it. But he walks over to it to to basically trigger the loading of the room. And then he's going to traverse the room, but not be in it, so he's not blocked by the bird head. So he needs to trick the game to think he's in the room, so he walks over the morph ball tunnel, so the game goes, oh, okay, you're on this room now, and it moves them. So now if you watch the map, the mini-map again on the upper right, you'll notice that Reggie's stuck on bad.
Okay, we saved it.
Okay, so when Reggie walks forward, the map moves, and it says, oh, okay, you're in training chamber now. Even though there's a bird head stuck in the way, we can now keep moving. Reggie's going to touch another loading trigger here, which loads the next room. Otherwise, it'd just be air there. And then he's going to stand on the door to trick the game to saying he's in the next room. And then he's actually going to leave the map on that room because the game gets lazier with its collision checking when the map is on a different room than the room you are like geographically near. So he abuses basically the lack of reposition logic to sink slightly into the ceiling and then unmorph and have his feet clip in it. And because his feet are clipped in it, he can just fall all the way through the ceiling. If you tried to do that in a room with the map on it, the game would say, hey, your feet aren't allowed to be clipped into this, let me move you a little bit. But since there's nowhere near the player that's in the current room with the map selected, it can't move the player, so he just falls to the ceiling and can get that item and then leave through the ghost fight with the door still open. Because the door doesn't lock unless you're in the room, and he's not actually in the room because the map was on training chamber access.
So we're
Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah. Thank you for explaining that so detailed. We're just doing cleanup now. We know that the Burn Dome guy, also known as Zoid, affectionately nicknamed that because the person responsible for programming the random number generator that determines how long the boss fight takes was David Zoid Kirsch, who I believe now is just Zoid, which is really cool. That was their nickname. So this is why we call Incinerator Drone Zoid. And Zoid was also responsible for the programming of the random number selection for the maze in Central Dynamo, where you get main power bombs. So the way that I believe it's like somewhere in the ballpark of 300 mazes in the pool.
300 mazes, yeah.
Zoid decided made up the algo that decides which maze you get.
Also wrote the algo to make mazes.
So while we're doing some cleanup here, we have some time for some donations.
We sure do.
Oh my, we got a few here. Start
right.
with $10 from Mr. Miguel. My favorite room in Metroid Prime for the Nintendo Game Cube is the Hall of Elders. Hashtag PHMR.
Here we go again.
we got $2 from our very own Osmorn.
Ooh.
Organizer extraordinaire Osmorn. We need to get closer to meeting Path of Pain and make these bid wars interesting. We hit 1,100, but you bet I'm not letting it be a round number so that chat will be bothered by it to donate more. Good luck, Reggie. You're on fire. And that does indeed put us at $1,101. Yeah, that is certainly an odd number there. And it's kind of
$1 more than be an even number.
Yeah, it's kind of bothering me, guys. So anyway, we should do something about that. And that of course is going to the Hollow Knight Path of Pain. And something else that is going towards the Hollow Knight Path of Pain is a donation that I've been staring down the barrel of for a few minutes here. It's $5 from a single Metroid. Scree! Rah! Translation. I will donate $5 each if the host, runner, and commentator can do their best impression of a single normie Metroid like me. And, I don't know, it's a pretty inhuman sound, so that's about the best my vocal cords can do there. But, what about you guys? What you got?
So I know Prime, so we're gonna go with the sound that a Prime Metroid makes, which is somewhere along the lines of like.
Yeah.
There's also the sound "Fall Down" in Metroid Quarantine A, Samus. Metroids really like to make that sound.
I'm sorry, Toaster. Reggie was talking over your beautiful impression. Can you give that to us again?
I'm just going for it. I think my mic might be trying to like noise cancel me out of existence, which is just great. But I'll keep doing it as long as we want.
Yeah.
There we go. All right. A single Metroid. I hope that that pleases your little Metroid ears, which I'm not even sure if you have, but you know, I hope it's good enough for you. I hope we did well.
Skipping bowling.
Yeah.
Adding more ghosts to the world.
We'll show off the bowling. We'll forego just a small amount of Miguel's handiwork to show off why this room is called what it is. The internal game name or room name for this in Metroid Prime is Chozo Bowling.
Chozo underscore bowling.
Yep. Also known as Hall of the Elders in Miguel's favorite room. So the statue does a couple of different things based on what state it is, or like its activation state. I don't know why I morphed. And one of the things it can do is throw you up this little ramp and onto there, but we skipped the requirements for that just by jumping gooder. Not like what I just did. Yeah, fun room. This room has about 525,600 things to worry about when you are trying to work on cutscene skips.
Or anything really.
Yeah.
I'm sure it took a long time to make. I bet they regretted having the idea to have a room like this after they sat down and scripted it.
Oh, almost got it first try. This game has, that was surprising, a bomb refill timer, and we can abuse it. Wow, I'm surprised that did not make it. I was wide out in the open and pretty high up.
The right way to make a bomb refill timer is to make the timer reset on the last bomb that you've dropped, but for whatever reason, the timer starts ticking down and doesn't reset on the first bomb you lay. So the first bomb in this bomb jump sequence, Reggie's just laying it to start the refill timer. So he uses a bomb, and then he gets 2 bombs, and then if he times it right, he gets 3 more bombs to use at his disposal in a rapid succession. So the refill timer to stop you from spamming a bunch of bombs and just getting a bunch of height can be abused to get up to 5 instead of up to 3, which is what they intended.
All right, so we're coming up on the Life Grove area, but I'm going to pass it by. I don't have Boost Ball, and like I said, I'm not doing any half-pipe bomb jump shenanigans. You
don't have to do half-pipe bomb jump if things go well, but it can end up there, so.
But I have to get the Life Grove tunnel item, which is both a completion percentage and an artifact. So it's not really worth my time, IMO, to worry about it. I will get this item.
Not boost.
Not boost. So we are going to see the old school version of a trick, not the fancy newfangled I have boost ball, I'm going to get that last bit extra. Good old bars skip, which is just a really picky double bomb jump over a hole in the collision that is in the corner of this. Oh, that was almost it. That lets you skip needing to go the front way and end up over here.
Nothing
really
sneaky. It's just an intended game mechanic done at the like precise limit of how high it can take you.
Oh, we're so close.
One thing that's interesting about bombs is that almost everything else in this game that adjusts your position usually adds to your velocity. So for example, if you're in the air and you get shot, it'll add to your velocity like based on the impulse of what hits you. Bombs are the only thing that set your velocity to a constant. So it means that bomb jumping is strictly a function of where you are vertically when the bomb goes off. So the best bomb jump has a best double bomb jump has the player at the apex of their first bomb jump when the second one goes off. You would think, right, like more logically, if he's rising up as the bomb goes off, it would like add and he would go higher. But this is like one weird edge case with the physics system here. But it is interesting because it makes all the different variations of bomb jumps extremely consistent. And we see top level runners in top level categories like low percent. I really pushed this simple 3 bomb refill timer system to its absolute limit, to points where you can go higher than you can get with like space jump with NSJ with just some bomb jumps.
Come on, bars, play nice.
Yeah, this one's extra tricky because you have to get like perfect height, and
There
you also need a
is.
bit of horizontal momentum to get over the bars too. You can either be high enough but not going sideways enough, or going sideways enough and not high enough. We know this is an artifact.
Yep.
You can save a bomb jump here or the all-time boost. But we don't have it, sad.
Yep. Boost has to be in mines. It could be biohazard, and it could be storage cave, but it's really not likely to be either of those locations. Just mathematically, it's far more likely to be in mines because of the amount of checks left.
What's the bomb jump and life growth tunnel rated at?
Not intermediate.
Okay. Just checking.
I was fully prepared to find Boost Ball there after saying it's not really likely to be here. How in the world did you snipe me through there? Annoying. And very rude.
My memory's getting a little fuzzy here. Did you do Frigate Crash Site and Overgrown?
I have not done Overgrown. I did do Frigate Crash Site. That's where I got Wave Beam. Overgrown has an artifact.
Oh, we knew that. This is an artifact.
Yep, this is also an art.
Fun fact, sometimes your missile can just fly like between the metal there.
Yep.
Really funny what happens.
The grate itself is not solid collision. You can shoot in between the gaps in the bars.
Part of the reason why this game is like really replayable to me is because like the original developers took the time for whatever reason to like model everything accurately. So like in a lot of games, right, a metal grate that you shoot to blow up would just be like flat collision. But for whatever reason, they modeled it so that it's like collision mesh matches neatly. And like a lot of places where it would be easy to just slap a flat wall, they made it like detailed and textured. And like with these movement abuses that weren't even intended, combined with like the incredible level of detail of rule design, especially for a game of this age, it makes the game world really interesting to explore, even at a high level. It's like to the point where we have to like make up categories to like continue like playing this game for fun, to find new things. Like we need an excuse to find things, because you can do, like, if you try hard enough, you can find a way to kind of solve almost any problem.
Ooh, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna do the 2 checks in Fendrana just so that I don't ever have to go back there. Fully wrap that area up and then push mines.
Yeah, this is starting to, I mean, apart from like the weird mines check, and excluding the weird like isolated fen check that you're gonna clean up right now, the like vanilla 100% route finishes by doing all of mines all at once. This is like mines is long and slow and has late game items, and it pushes the route to just hold off doing mines until the very end, so it can do it all in one big sweep and come back and do final bosses. And it looks like Reggie kind of ended up at the same conclusion of like, you know, apart from having to come back to Life Grove, doing mines.
Which would be convenient, because I'm going to do mines back to front. So when I come out the front of mines, I'll be right next to Life Grove, and I'm almost certainly going to be finding a boost there. Ooh, plasma processing has an artifact. That's annoying.
Well, you're going to be near it, at least like near the elevator when you're doing the back fend later.
You're going to just do a little pop-up. I want to go this way because I need Ice Ruins West.
Oh, I forgot about Ice Ruins West.
Yeah.
I thought it was dead because it was just a missile, but that's like rando any percent brain.
So if I do end up, I'm probably going to find boost in lower mines. I have a feeling it'll be slightly past. Like vent shaft area. We might even find it in Central Dynamo, which would be a funny location for it.
So right now,
Miguel for teaching me that. Little movement right there.
It's a fun one. Basically, from the way that I think you're routing this, no matter where you find boost, it's not going to change the order of items collected. So we have a plan. We're acting it to beat the game, right?
Pardon? Sorry, I was planning.
So we're here. Ice Ruins West.
Yes.
Storage Cave.
Yes. Mines.
Plasma processing.
If I find boost.
Oh, because that's boost locked.
I don't know how to do Claris strat for that.
No, it's boost locked. Let's just call it boost locked.
Yeah. Or
no, I know I was being small brain about something. Because I like an hour ago I was saying like we're missing boost, and it doesn't really lock anything. It locks Life Grove Tunnel because halfway bumped up to get out, and it locks plasma processing because there's spinners that you can't manipulate, unlike almost all the other spinners which you can't manipulate.
These very dear friends of mine flying in this room are going to bother me, so I'm going to take the time to kill them before I climb.
Everybody loves the flying pirates.
They're just a delight.
The life of every party.
Skipping that puzzle's fun. Puzzle's really slow. Just stand on things.
Alright.
You got Chad asking if you've checked Lava Lake.
You have item dots on.
I think I might have not done front mag.
Road Raggy?
It's just Lava Lake. Whatever, we'll get it eventually. It's really easy to forget exactly one item when you're doing it out of order from vanilla, or you're just like, yeah, whatever, I'll just go this way.
It's difficult to keep track of things in a randomizer? What?
Imagine, especially when you were out in the sun all day and your body is like, why?
Word.
Why are you doing this to me? The answer is content. And charity. Give all of the money that you have, but only if you can safely do it, to Somos Familia Valle.
Speaking of which, we do have another donation here.
Awesome.
A donation from that hoity-toity single Metroid.
Ah.
Scream! Translation. Good work, boys! My auditory nuclei that serve as Metroid ears are pleased. It's the left and right nuclei, thank you very much. The center one serves as my single cyclopean eye. Hashtag the more you know. Hashtag PHMR. And that was $15 towards the Path of Pain for Hollow Knight.
Awesome.
So we are well over halfway there, and as I said before, we got a little less than a day to do it. Sounds like a lot. It's really not. So the sooner we get that in, the better. So yeah, by all means, get your donations in if you want to see what is bound to be a wild time on the Hollow Knight Path of Pain. And thank you to a single Metroid.
I'm real happy we got our biological quandaries answered.
Yeah, I've always wondered, that is actually something I've been curious about, like, how do Metroids see? And I guess it's the center nucleus.
Yeah, it's got them three nuclei.
One weird Metroid behavior about this game is that before they attack you, they always want to move to be in front of you. Like, they have to make it personal before they'll, like, go in for the lunge. There's, like, a code of, like, honor or something in there. If, like, face your prey face on and then go.
If I recall correctly, those mock droids only have a single nuclei, don't they?
That might be the case.
Ah, so those are the death Metroids. So that pirate engineering just wasn't quite up to snuff to give them all their faculties.
I hope Metroid Prime 4 is a stealth section. I hope Metroid Prime 4 exists.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I hope Metroid Prime 4 comes out.
Although, knowing Samus and her incredibly long toes, she's just gonna kick a can over in a room somewhere. There's a joke in the Prime games that the little bit of extra height that you would need to get a jump if you don't make it is because of Samus's long toes.
That all that extra DNA she's got from that petri dish that consists of Samus, among many other things, it gives her extra long toes.
I'm trying to think of how far into mines Boost Ball can be with intermediate settings. With Phazon Suit, I'm pretty sure that it can be all the way. It can be all the way down.
The long toes are the bird DNA, according to chat.
Yeah, because it's just a point of no return.
I have a question for you, Toaster.
Yar.
Did you vet that none of the items were locked behind themselves? Oh, no, actually, that can't be possible because we have boost requirements. I was like, what if boost is somewhere boost locked? But we know all of those locations.
Oof. Supers could have been super locked. Like, you're right that that's something I should have vetted. That it's possible to 100% it because the randomizer app doesn't. Oh, Scanmizer. The randomizer app doesn't guarantee that all seeds are 100% completable. So there'd be some funny shenanigans going on if an item were to lock behind themselves.
We probably would have been learning some wall crawls that are not currently in the repertoire.
It would have been fun.
Fun TM.
Yeah, fun TM. Trying to think. Because you need all 4 beams to beat the game. The thermal can't be hard locked by anything.
Yep.
X-ray could be on PCA, so the room behind a Mega Pirate, and not needed to beat the game, but you could wall crawl to that. If X-ray was on a Mega Pirate, then there would be no way to complete the game 100%. Yep. Because a Mega Pirate does not check for you doing damage to it if X-ray visor is not equipped and opened. This is the maze. It's random every time. Has 2 pools. They're not always needed. Sometimes there's dead ends, sometimes there's not. Sometimes it's short, sometimes it's fast. Sometimes it looks like you should go left. And it's a bait, sometimes you're good. Like, a part of the run where it asks you to be like, hey, real quick, what's 12 times 13? And you're like, oh, I'm playing a video game, leave me alone.
Normally I would go just directly underneath the firing squad, but without boost, I'm not gonna just get bullied by these very delightful turrets in this room that totally have never been a bother to anybody in their entire life.
Alright, this room has 2 invisible platforms that you usually need to clear all the enemies to like safely cross, and then use X-ray visor to look at them. But if we get one of many enemies to just sit in a general area, you can dash across.
This is my least favorite room in the entire game.
Yeah,
we're on great terms.
It can take a really long time if you mess it up, and if done properly, it's pretty fast. More dashing.
Good dash. Hundo dash. There's several different ways to traverse that room, but since we needed to get the item, we went up, grabbed it. Haha, this wall is funny and I can stand on it even though the elevator goes away. So I grabbed the item and then grabbed a scan point lock-on to do a backwards right dash and go haha funny burr.
And vent.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
You just gotta look hard.
It's for you, chat. The joke is for you if you look hard enough.
These Metroids can be tricky because their idle bomb animation makes it so that an ice beam shot is like most likely to miss if you just shoot a wall locked on. And then they do a lot more bombing around when they get aggro.
Oh no, phase on.
Oh no. Blue. That's not green.
Oh, the big draw to Phazon suit, one of the 2 major things that it does is it allows you to exist in blue Phazon without taking damage from it, which is exponential. It hits the cap pretty quickly, but it does a lot of damage. There's a sequence that you can do out of bounds or inbounds. It's called Early Newborn, which is the item normally there, the artifact of Newborn. And it's quite powerful. It saves minutes in a speed run.
You have to backtrack normally.
Bonk. Let's go this
In
way.
Randomizer, when playing on pretty typical logic, it's the only place in the game. It's the one and only check that phase on suit locks. Like 99% of the time, phase on suit.
That Metroid came out of the ground and did not die.
That was special.
Normally, if Metroids go out of bounds, they die. Also, Metroids really, really love doors. I don't have boost ball. I don't know why I'm doing muscle memory movement.
It'll work anyways, just force it. Yeah. More dashing. Got this.
Powerbomb? As emoji? No, that's right. I
We
have
have
plenty.
12
I think I have
E-tanks?
5 power bombs. Yeah. Yeah, we have 12 11 E-tanks. We're missing 3.
Okay. And we're missing 30 divided by 5 missiles. I'll leave that to the scholars to figure out what number that is.
We have all of the checks in upper mine still.
Yep.
Usually, this would be like one of the last few checks in the game that we do in vanilla. But we're going to do it now just because I was suspicious of... that's early. Yeah.
The AI is bad, and you can strafe around it if you skip the cutscene while on the side, so you can shoot him without him trying to defend himself. And then he tried to lay a power bomb to skip these 2 pirates, but it's okay because they're power pirates, which means he has enough time to kill them, unlike the wave pirates, before this the damage cycle starts. If he does this right, he'll be done in a single cycle, which saves a lot of time over 2 cycles. So he saves half the time. He's going to do the 100% strat, which is to start with 2 missiles and a super missile. He's being careful and really deliberate to do a certain amount of damage so that the fight ends appropriately. So there's a method to predicting where Omega Pirate spawns. Omega Pirate always spawns in the pool furthest away from the player, which isn't the pool that Omega Pirate last spawned at. Nice thermal visor.
Yeah. Sometimes the pirates during that third pool like to Mr. President Omega Pirate and prevent nice vanilla you from locking on to OP and will steal the spotlight, and by spotlight I mean the super missile that kills Omega Pirate. So I'm grateful that I was able to catch the good lock on before running out of time, because it is time sensitive there.
There's enough time, like if you're perfectly on time, like as early as you can be, and you whiff one, you have like frames amount of like overhead to get a second super missile in. Yeah, there's like little things like walking forwards after it spawns to reduce the travel time in the air. Things you can do to enhance your chances of fixing a blunder like that. But
watch, boost ball's gonna be in lava lake. Chat's gonna be right. Boost ball's gonna be in lava lake. It would be really funny. It would be really tragic, but it would be really funny. Because I don't have boost ball, I can't do the cool elite research wall speed clip. Which is unfortunate. It is slightly faster to go that way. Or it's just going to be right here in Storage Depot B. We know that Storage Depot A is an artifact.
Thankfully, this...
Yo!
Hey!
All right.
We
Well, now we can do the cool thing.
Now
So,
we can
yeah.
do the cool thing.
Get your heart out, chat.
Yeah, no matter what you're playing, what category, what randomizer items you have, which direction you're going, you pretty much never have to do the org processing puzzle, which sucks because it's slow and
It is a
bad.
cool puzzle,
Yeah, it's a neat idea.
but
Calvin.
it's slow. Yeah. All my homies hate Calvin.
Back face collision in this game is sticky, and it basically doesn't reset your speed if you get stuck in it. Boost ball has no speed cap. It has a speed cap, but they forgot to enforce it anytime other than when you're holding forward. So if you're holding forward and you're boosting and employs a speed cap. But if you just sit there and spam B, you'll keep building more and more speed until the your next position of the next frame is all the way past the wall, then it'll just send you through as if the wall wasn't there.
This is our
Super
dear
Mario
friend
64
Philip.
rules.
Philip is goopy, but he's still technically an elite pirate. So we're just gonna dance around him and shoot 24 missiles at his face, make him headbang. Philip likes heavy metal. Boom.
Boom. Enough said.
Yep. That is normally the artifact of warrior.
Warrior. Because you gotta fight the guy.
Because you gotta fight the guy, but not located in the room called Warrior Shrine. we love the way that the artifacts were distributed.
And the sun artifact is in a sun chamber.
It's in some frozen hands.
Is Life Giver at least in Life Grove?
No, Life Giver is in Tower Chamber.
Oh, ew.
Very ew. Can you stop? All right, we're gonna get a cutscene here. Oh, you're not dead. Okay.
If you tried to do this, like exactly this way in vanilla, you would actually soft lock. There's this cool thing where the doors don't, basically the doors lock in vanilla when you reach the front door, but it doesn't check to unlock until after you've killed a certain number of enemies, and it doesn't start keeping track of that count of enemies until you've locked the door. So if you kill even one enemy before locking the door, coming backwards in a sequence breaking way like this, then you would actually soft lock, but Randomizer fixes that. Randomizer also has a quality of life improvement. Pre-scans this barrier for you if it detects you're coming backwards. So otherwise there'd be a barrier here and you couldn't leave this way.
No, it is one of the quality of life features that we do have turned on, just because it makes routing more kind, and we already probably have to do a lot of backtracking because of item requirements / totally forgetting that Lava Lake is a room that has an item. Nobody's ever done that before, especially not me right now.
I forgot too, and I'm watching you.
I shot a pirate.
Yeah, with the slope jump Reggie did, he bypassed a trigger that makes him angry.
Rare boxes. No power bombs. Your boxes are a lie. Okay. We have 2 artifacts remaining. Yes. Okay. We have 8 power bombs, so we're good. We have Life Grove Tunnel and Plasma Processing left for artifacts, which we're coming right up on Life Grove Tunnel. Plasma Processing is an easy get. Unfortunately, I have 2 very far apart items from each other in Magmor to pick up. That is slightly annoying.
Should have checked Lava Lake.
I should have checked Lava Lake.
It's funny is like you were even talking about it. I didn't like entertain the conversation, but you were like, Lava Lake.
Yeah,
I
and then I found
that in Logic right now.
Promptly stopped caring about it.
In like a normal randomizer where you're not trying to 100% it makes a lot of sense to quote unquote chase the logic of the last item you got. The way like statistics work, you're more likely to find the next thing you need locked behind the last thing you got, just because of the way like concentric circles of checks
Here we go.
are located topographically. There's some juicy words for you nerds out there. It
Put that
says,
in your Wordle
Spinner
and symbol
Manip
it.
failed where it wasn't needed. It looks like you're trying to get a bump from a piston.
Come on. This is a slope jump that only works if you have gravity, but is refusing to work
actually got patched in version 0.00.
Where's my slope? Is my slope gone? Oh no, it's earlier.
It's further back.
That's interesting. I could have sworn that it was right at the lip of the spinner, but I was very clearly mistaken.
That was today's years old. Yeah, this is the room we were talking about.
I hate this room.
Half the reason we want to boost is because you can bomb jump over the top, but if you fall down in that bottom section, like if you need to get that item, it takes like hours of practice to get back out.
All right, so I'm missing 1 missile and 1 artifact, which is good. That means that I have actually been getting the items that I have been needing to get.
Yeah. It's good that you didn't forget something apart from the thing that you forgot.
Yeah, aside from the one thing. Yeah. I didn't forget any extra things. No extra forgets. Only the one forget. Warp to start would have been an incredibly handy tool, but the vanilla game doesn't have warp to start, so it felt cheap to include it. Again, part of the spirit of using a vanilla item pool is that you're still getting to see what the game looks like with that state of the game.
What do you mean by warp to start? Is there like a fast travel option that the randomizer gives you?
It is, yeah. It's a randomizer feature that allows you to go into a save station, deny saving at the save station while holding the L and R trigger, and it will warp you to your starting location. So normally,
level, like that.
Yeah.
So like, normally take it to the beginning of like Magmore Caverns or something.
Wherever you started, you started the game, which normally it would be at the ship and landing site.
Okay.
So that's a really useful routing tool, and can get you out of a couple, or actually just one, soft lock situation.
Yeah, it helps new players a lot. Because a lot of players will bumble into lower mines of that boost, and then not realize you need it to get back up the half pipe. And if you save in there without boost and don't know any tricks to get out, you kind of have to like start over. And you can, if it's like your first seed, that can sometimes mean losing like 3-4 hours of progress.
Yep.
But for you, Chad, you're getting the authentic Metroid Prime experience.
You are. How are we doing on time? I feel like I've like what? Like an hour 50?
An hour 50, yep.
Okay.
That's pretty good. We'll finish well under estimate. Probably about 20 under, which is good. Wow, missed the R jump. It's my first day. Give me a break. I've literally never played this game before.
Fire's tunnel, which is that room that he filled the R jump in, just to rub it in more. It's fun because there's like 4 or 5 different ways you can go through it, depending on what items you have. And it's all down to like player preference mostly, how you do it. So if you're good with R jumps, you can do that. If you're a god, you can do a bunny hop R jump, like set up faster. Yeah, this is the other half of the reason why we need a boost ball. We don't need spider ball for this though. Just need boost. Because you can stand on things and you can slip jump up tracks. And then the big long spider puzzle. Yeah.
May we soar on the wings of eagles.
Nice. So I was talking earlier about how you can mix and match tech. That's an R jump with a slope jump. So the curvature of the pipe there with a well-timed R jump can land you onto an invisible platform that sticks out in front of the door. It's very handy. So it's a very, very long spider puzzle. There's a slower way to do it. But eagle jump is fun. So we do it.
All right, so we're gonna go back for Lava Lake, which we're pretty close to. It will not take very long to get there. And then once we have Lava Lake, we can rush final bosses, which will be cool. I will be showing you all of the final boss fights. There is a series of out-of-bounds movements that can be used to skip one phase of the final boss of the game. I do know how to do the wall crawl for it, but I am not confident in my ability to pull it off first try. So we will not be featuring that today. Plus, it's more fun to watch the boss anyway.
Mm-hmm. And on our way there, we got time for another donation?
We sure do.
All right. I feel like we're a bit late on this one, but it is $5 from Philip. Says, no bully, please. With love, Philip. Hashtag PHMR. Unfortunately,
Phillip, I love to bully you.
We bullied the heck out of Philip.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry,
24
buddy.
times in the face.
Yeah, you got,
with explosives.
Got hella bullied. But he was nice enough to put that towards the Hollow Knight Path of Pain. So thank
Thanks,
you
Phillip.
for your sacrifice, Philip. It's going towards a good cause. Sorry about your face.
I am not sorry, but I have managed to touch all 3 Tyclops in this room. I'm amazing.
They're bullying you for bullying Philip.
It's a vicious
called
cycle.
karma.
Yeah. What's interesting is it's probably faster RTA, like real time, to go to final bosses this way, but it's probably faster in-game time to go through Chozo Ruins.
It is faster IGT to go back through Chozo.
Oh, no. And Mr. McWell saying that he feels like making a mod that heavily buffs Philip now.
Uh-oh. Well, somebody that we know may or may not have tools eventually, TM, to edit stats for enemies on demand.
Yeah, make Philip the final boss.
Toaster, in addition to being my co-commentator, is also a very talented hackermans and has adopted...
BRB changing my Discord bio to Hacker Man. Sorry, continue.
Toaster has adopted the patcher for Prime, which is called Random Prime, originally developed by April Wade, correct?
Yeah, sympathetic.
And okay. And it's really, really powerful. And Toaster has added a lot of new things to it, to the point where we can make actual ROM hacks of Metroid Prime, which is really cool. And the feature set just continues to grow. So it's really awesome.
The big oof is no one's taken the time to develop a workflow for editing level geometry, but we're getting close to being able to hold by for ship dash.
Yeah, ship dash, woo! Time is coming up in approximately 7 minutes. I kind of forgot to give the 20-minute warning.
Oh, all right.
We're gonna go fight a dragon, boil a crab, and deep fry some calamari.
Nice. So next year for Completithon 2024, let's get a Metroid fill, 100% randomizer run here to close things off next year. Let's make it happen, Toaster.
I'm here for it.
YOLO!
Wow.
I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna not get my fancy setup to avoid bad Ridley RNG, but I will take it for getting flyby skip. I want to talk about chicken.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on here. I'm already all the way through it, so Ridley has a flying phase and a ground phase. We have just in general a really easy way to get through the entire flying phase, which is to boost into Ridley's toenails. I don't know why toenails keeps coming up. But boost ball does damage every frame, and Ridley's vulnerable to it, so boosting into... And Ridley's dead. Please clap.
You Metroid fans and your feet.
I guess that says something about us, doesn't it?
Yeah. Things. Basically, Reggie hit Ridley pretty much, I think, framed perfectly to get Ridley to land sooner, to save time so that he could boost the toe sooner, because we can't wait to boost toes.
Flyby skip is both frame perfect and pixel perfect, depending on your location. There is a setup that you can do, like you can lodge yourself in a corner of the rim surrounding the room, and
there's a
use a pause buffer.
setup, and there's a YOLO setup, and we hit the YOLO.
We hit the YOLO.
Oh yeah, by the way, final boss.
Yep.
First sub-chamber is power and wave, 50% chance, which you get first, but it always goes to the second afterwards. There's always each phase for the first 3 sub-chambers. Every time you see a vulnerability, Reggie just needs to do a certain amount of damage to it to move on to one of the remaining. So your ice gets added, so now it's a random order of those 3. And normally, Metroid Prime, the exoskeleton fight, has a whole plethora of ranged attacks it can do, and they're kind of annoying because sometimes you have to deal with projectiles. The projectiles do, pretty much all of them do stun, so to kind of stop you from shooting it. It lifts it, it tilts its chin up, making it hard to hit the really small weak spot. But Reggie can stop it from doing pretty much any ranged attacks by standing within its melee range. It has an attack that tries to push you back to try to keep you spaced for the fight.
This is rare.
Oh, ice first?
Ice first in sub 3 is really rare.
Yeah.
Ooh, offset. This is harder now.
Yes! Oh, you got it, nice. Basically, when a color phase ends, you can still damage it with that same color until it does the run by, turns around, and then changes color. And any damage done during, like before that transition period, counts for the next phase. So you can even in some cases do enough damage for the next phase before it's even started. So at every opportunity that you can hit it in its weak spot, you want to. So that includes when it's running past you with its head down. You just have to kind of free aim and time it correctly. And then there's something called turnarounds where as it turns around after a run, you can sneak some damage in. And all of the beams have different projectile speeds.
Fast!
And then in 100%, you have all the beam combos, and some of them do a lot of damage. And so for run-bys, you want to... there's an extra element of trying to time the beam combo and like calculating for its projectile speed and all that to hit its running by. So there's a lot of...
Oh my god.
So many ice spreader run-by skips. Metroid
That's
Prime,
really hard.
Yeah. Metroid Prime is a Metroid, and Metroids are weak to ice. So Ice Spreader, which has a bunch of damage, it does a bunch of damage all at once. So you really only have like one chance to hit it in a run-by, and it's a really small window. So we're moving on to the Essence fight. Reggie, do you want to take this one home, or?
Sure. What I'm going to do here is I'm not going to move my X or Y coordinates to bait Essence into doing one of 4 motion patterns. I believe it's only 4. Then I am going to attack it in intervals that allow it to start considering to take an action. And then I'm going to basically skip it actually taking the action. So I'm going to do... Oh, I stepped out of the pool. Amazing. I'm going to basically tap this. I'm going to do 2 pulls of attack cancels. And then I'm going to do one pool of pool cancels where instead of doing timing based things like this, I'm going to step in and out of the pool rapidly to delay the decay of the pool ammo and do essence in 3 phases instead of 5, which is what the vanilla game would normally take. I'm also trying really hard to keep the squid part away from the crab body because it will do bad things like not drop a pool, which is really slow because not only do we not get to do any damage, we don't get to do fast strats. And time is time. Sorry, I got really excited about moving on through this.
Time is done.
I was also really, really amped up about getting 3 ice spreader run by shots on EXO.
That might be the fastest.
Really solid.
That might be the fastest Ridley plus EXO that I've seen in a really, really long time.
Good lord.
Yeah.
That just seems to be a theme from this marathon is people just doing really well and being like, oh well, I haven't seen myself do that good ever. Love to see it.
I would like to take a moment to do some quick shout outs.
No,
that's
please.
Okay.
You're fishing like a half hour ahead, like it's the last round of the night. Take your time with your shout outs.
All right. We'll give you slow scrolling item locations while I do this. I would first like to thank Toaster Party for being here and being my commentator and partner in crime through this. I would like to thank Completithon for being an activist group and supporting things like Somos Familia Valle. It's really important to be supporting our LGBTQIA plus folks. Things are a little wild right now in a lot of places, and it fills me with a lot of joy to see positive outreach organizations do things to benefit them. It's really cool, and I am very happy about that. I would like to shout out some very good friends, the Ginger Chris, even though you are orange. Baja Blood was one of the folks that did a dono for us here. Miguel, for all of the work that you've done in giving us fast cutscenes. The entire Randovania dev team as a whole, Dark Zero and Duncan Salt in particular. We did get 100%, thank goodness. Very important. And
thank God.
I also Bonnie for being a very gracious host during this time.
Aw, it was my pleasure. No, seriously, like this, I've been looking forward to this run all day. Like I was at work, like just doing my thing, and just kept on thinking, that Metroid Rando though, and I'm happy to say it lived up to all my expectations, if not exceeded them. Like this was a good time, and really there's no better way for me to close out my portion of the marathon than with this run. So thank you, Reggie.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I'm really grateful for the folks that met the incentive as well. That's a really cool thing. The vanilla 100% speedrun is very cool, and there is some very specific movement tech that we did not get to see, but I would argue that we got to see some more interesting tech instead, and routing on the fly is always a fun thing to see happen, and especially when you forget an item that's on the opposite end of where you need it to be.
That lava lake.
It is always fun to...
Anything you'd like to shout?
I was gonna say it is always fun to like finish one of these and like daydream about like how you could have read it perfectly, like if you had perfect information. But yeah, as for shoutouts and stuff, I couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks to everyone who's been a friend. So, and thanks to everyone who donated, especially.
Shoutouts to the just the Metroid community just coming out in droves for this run too. Just love to see it.
There's a lot of you in here. It's really awesome. I appreciate you all for being here as well. Chat, all of you, you're great. Without you, literally none of this would be possible. So you're kind of the backbone of it all here, especially since these donos are coming in from you. You're as much of a part of the activism and positive outreach and change as the organizers and the people in the event are.
You did good, chat. You did good.
You did good. You're great. We love you. We support you. Pinch those little cheeks.
You did good, kid.
All right, get me off this microphone before I continue to humiliate myself and say goofy things.
All right, thank you so much, Reggie and Toaster. You did good work too, and we're happy to have you here tonight. Alrighty, folks. Give it up one more time for everybody's favorite uncle, Reggie, as well as the dulcet tones of Hackerman Extraordinaire Toaster on commentary there. One hell of a run. Like I said, I was super excited for that one, and it surpassed all my expectations. There's no better way that we could have ended day. Is that 4? Yeah, day 4 of Completithon 2023 here. And unfortunately, that is going to be it for my portion of this marathon. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure to be here raising money for a great cause. We are over $1,100 here raised for Somos Familia Valle, and they are doing fantastic work themselves. Really important work for really supporting everyone in the San Fernando area, all the LGBTQ plus community over there. And as Reggie said, times are wild right now, so it is especially important these days. We are not done though. We will be back tomorrow with starting with some Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix Randomizer. That is coming up in, let me just check the schedule here. It's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Daytime. So be there for that. It's going to be a good time. We got actually quite a few good runs coming tomorrow. We got that Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart run. We still got the incentive open to see which weapon you want to switch to. We got the Zelda Link to the Past run. That's always a good time. Super Meat Boy, and we are finishing things off with Hollow Knight, which we are a little over halfway there to getting the Path of Pain incentive met. And as I've been saying all night, it's going to be a doozy watching that one. It's going to be a wild time. You want to make our runners sweat. Let's let them do the Path of Pain. And that can only happen if we get to $200 of that. And like I said, halfway there, it is easily doable by the end of the day tomorrow. So let's do it to it. However, that's about it for me. Like I said, huge shout outs to all the event team organizers, Osborne and Genesis, everyone else on the team. It has been, thank you so much for letting me lend my voice to this great cause here, and I'd be happy to work with any of you again. Looking forward to the next event. Shout outs to everyone who came over from the volunteer fam Discord server. You know who you are. It's always a pleasure to work with you as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing you wherever that may be, whenever that may be. We are going to be rating a variety pack here in just a few moments. She ran BioShock Infinite. Was that last night? I want to say that was last night. It was another heck of a run. So let's go show her some love. Yeah, that is about all I got here. You all, you have a good night. You stay safe. You keep on rocking. You take my love and vaya con Dios. Take care, everyone.